We're going to start with our favorite fighters, dude. I'm going to let you go first, man. Which weight class do you want to start at? And just give me your favorite fighter from there.
I'd say let's start at heavyweight. I just think, I don't know, I guess it's just a cleaner. We can kind of go from heavyweight on down if you want to do it like that. And, just a fan favorite for everybody. But he's been my guy for a long time. Is obviously Derek Lewis, swinging and banging. Just his style. He's always going to go out there with that big lunchbox and try to take your head off. And then he's always going to be super entertaining with the post fight interview if he ends up getting the win. So he's the full package. And I remember introducing him to my wife. I remember the first fight she actually watched to him was Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis. So she wasn't too impressed, obviously, after that fight. And then the very next fight was the Alexander Volkov versus Derek Lewis fight. And I remember 14 minutes and 30 seconds in that fight, I'm like, man, this has really been a bad series of fights that I've managed to show her of one of my favorite fighters. And then there with 10 seconds left, he was able to pull that last minute win out, and she was able to see in the post-fight interview why he's my favorite fighter at heavyweight. And he's probably definitely one of my favorite fighters overall, but definitely Derek Lewis for heavyweight for me.
You kind of stole mine there, but for every weight class, I did have a close second, if you will. We are all Derek Lewis fans over here on the Golden Octagon. That is for damn sure. But that being said, I'm going to go with Alexander Romanov, dude. The dude has looked nothing but impressive so far. Just completely destroying everyone, aside from, I believe it was his first fight against maybe Juan Espino, where that one went to some kind of weird decision halfway through the fight off of a nut shot. Aside from that one, dude, Alexander fucking Romanov is on a complete tear, and I do believe he should be watched out for in the heavyweight division. Everyone's always on Tom Aspinall, and don't get me wrong, Tom Aspinall is fantastic. He's great. But you guys have to watch out for Alexander Romanov, because Alexander Romanov is just a bigger man overall. He just has more mass to him. And he keeps weighing in lighter and lighter, and he's still massive. So that's just, I guess, one of my top favorites, aside from Derek Lewis, in the heavyweight division to watch is Alexander Romanov.
Man, so that's actually a pretty interesting pick. I wasn't even thinking about him as far as one of the favorite fighters. And I just wanted to ask just real quick, do you think, guys kind of like his style? Maybe they don't have the same exact style, but it seems like in heavyweight, wrestlers always get topped out within the top of that division. Look at Curtis Blades, he's one of the best wrestlers in the sport, but it seems like every time he gets in one of those top echelon fights, which obviously he's lost to Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis. So those are no bad losses, but it seems like he sort of tops out at the top end of the division. I just wanted to see what you thought about Romanov matching up in the top of that division.
I think with his, if you want to say the finishing ability that he has, I don't think it's going to be a problem, because the dude seems to have a chin. He's a big guy just overall, and he just kind of seems to overwhelm certain people. The dude has a forearm choke in the first round against a Brazilian dude. Those dudes have jiu-jitsu in their mitochondria, dude. It's in there deep. So, I mean, he choked him out with the forearm choke, and that's some shit that you don't ever see, dude. And he's a problem for the entire division, if you ask me. Sadly, on the other hand, Derek Lewis just hasn't looked too good soon recently, and it's just I hate to see it, because I just love watching the dude fight, but it just kind of seems just his run kind of might be coming to an end here soon, dude.
Yeah, him being 36 now, I mean, he's fought for the title a couple of times now. I don't imagine him fighting for the title too many more times, but just as far as his style, he's always going to be a fan favorite. And then his post-fight interview, he's always going to be must-watch TV anytime he fights. I don't need him to fight for a title in order to be entertaining for me.
Fair enough. That being said, let's go down to light heavyweight. You know what I'm going to say here? I'm going to say Yuri. And you know why? You can just look at him. The dude isn't. How can you not like Yuri Prochazka? I've said this since his first fight in the UFC. I'm like, this guy is my new favorite guy at light heavyweight division, but he's the champion now. So that being said, I'm going to give you guys a alternate pick. I'm going to go with Sweet Dreams, Jamal Hill. The dude's just entertaining to watch. I enjoy it. Hopefully that wasn't your pick, Dorian.
That was actually my pick.
Really, Jamal Hill was your pick?
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah. No. Well, I got another guy
said,
too as a backup.
So that being said, I didn't say why. You explain why Jamal Hill is your favorite in the division, because Yuri's obviously mine, but I like the division's not too deep, let's be honest, but you're obviously going to go Lionheart after that. So let's go ahead and tell people why those two are your favorites in the division.
Right. Yeah. Definitely Lionheart. That's my guy. Okay. We kind of do know each other better than we thought we did. But yeah, Jamal Hill, I'm surprised to surprise you, man. I've watched him kind of since the Contender series, and I remember I just liked his attitude. He's got this mean streak to him. I remember when he ended up he just put the combination on the dude. I can't remember the guy that he fought in the Contender series, but he just put kind of similar to a combination they did to OSP, and I just remember the ref pulled him off, and he just kind of made this face like he's like, I'm a problem. And it was just I love his energy. He also has really actually funny interviews. If you've ever actually heard any of his interviews with like Ariel Helwani or any of those guys, he's a really funny guy. Dude's got really good energy. He's got a mean streak to him when he gets in the octagon. And dude, when he knocked out Johnny Walker, when he put him out, and not even the initial punch to put him out, because obviously that was when he made him look like a mannequin. But dude, that he was so surgical with that follow-up punch to make sure that follow-up punch landed right on his chin, dude. He just got this nastiness to him when he fights. And he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's young, and he's still kind of up and coming in the division. He's got a matchup with Thiago Santos soon. So, I mean, if he ends up getting through Thiago Santos, maybe he's 1 or 2 fights away from the title as well. So, yeah, definitely Jamal Hill and Anthony Smith. Those are definitely my two. But if I had to pick one, definitely Jamal Hill.
Sweet Dreams, a good Instagram follow as well for those of you who don't follow Jamal Hill on Instagram. Pretty funny guy, as Dorian said. That being said, man, I'm gonna let you tell people why Izzy is your favorite at middleweight, man.
Yeah. Obviously, Izzy's my favorite on the old setup that I had the old Izzy poster in the background. I actually had watched him ever since his UFC debut when he fought against Marvin Wilkinson, and I still remember after that fight, he absolutely put a beating on the dude, and the guy went for, I believe it was like 23, 24 takedowns, and I think he landed like 2. And he never held Izzy down for longer than like 30 seconds the whole fight. And to see the way he was so crisp with his striking, I was like, man, this dude, he's definitely going to be something. And then his post-fight interview with John Anik when he did the, this is the new dog in the yard, when he did the little piss thing, act like he was pissing in the octagon. When I seen that interview, I was like, man, he's got this good energy to him. And even in the Marvin Vettori fight, in the first fight that he had against him, against Israel, that was actually a close fight. I know it went to split decision. It shouldn't have been a split decision, but there were a couple of times in that fight where I remember Izzy just looked like he was in the Matrix, dude. Like Marvin went to throw a head kick, and Izzy literally looked like Keanu Reeves leaning back, avoiding the head kick, and then coming up and catching him with an elbow off the dodge. So his striking is just so potent, so clean. His swag, he's just got a swagger to him, but it's an authentic swagger. Like, it's not like he's trying to do this thing where he's this big role model. He's just authentically him, and I think that's just what makes me a big fan of him the most.
All right, so there's 2 that I want to throw at you, and it just seems odd because I guess I like the rankings that I just now looked at. I like the worldwide rankings, but I want to throw two at you, and I'm gonna get like your opinion on each of them, and I just want to, and then I will, I guess, explain why I personally like these guys. One, Andre Muniz. Two, Nasruddin Imavov. Dude, these two dudes fairly new to the UFC, but both lethal finishers, dude, with two separate ways. Imavov, a French striker, if you will, but fights just like Cyril Gahn, dude, and he will put it on people. One that I am just interested to see where to go in the division. And two, Andre Muniz is a lethal submission artist, dude. All of you seen him do is sub dudes with this crazy armbar falling off the side over and over, and I want to see how many times it can happen. Like before, he's just like, who can stop this animal at 185 now? Yeah. What do you think about my two picks?
Yeah, Nasruddin Imavov, he's definitely an interesting pick just because I think I know he trains with Cyril, is that right? Him and Cyril train together, but honestly, he's a more aggressive Cyril Gahn, because sometimes I think that Cyril's problem is that he gets a little complacent, whereas Nasruddin, he seems to put a little bit more of his put a little bit more pep in his step in terms of going after it. So he's definitely an interesting pick as far as coming up the middleweight division. And for Andre Muniz, man, for anybody who can get into a jiu-jitsu battle with Jacare Souza and break his arm, I mean, dude, you got my full on respect, dude. And for him, I mean, Jacare, I mean, he was not going to tap. I mean, he knew what he was getting into in that fight, and yeah, I mean, he absolutely broke his arm. And the ref seen it, stopped the fight, or Jacare probably would have kept trying to fight. But yeah, for Andre Muniz, he's super interesting as well with his lethal arm bars, man. So those are definitely some two interesting picks.
For sure. 170 is a tough one for me because I like a lot of people at 170, but I'm not going to let you steal this weekend's fighter away from me. I've got to go Trailblazer, dude. Aside from Khamzat, which I kind of feel like is off limits. Khamzat's just off limits. Everyone loves Khamzat. I got to go Kevin Holland, man. I love me some Kevin Holland. He fights this weekend. I'm going to be going for the Trailblazer. Can't wait for this shit, man. Can't wait.
Whoa, hold on. So the Trailblazer over Michelle?
Yeah, for sure. I would for sure go Kevin Holland over Michelle Pereira, dude.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Now,
okay,
see, I didn't in all-out excitement to watch, I put like Michelle up there, like top 3 to 5, because you don't know what he's gonna do. But as far as my favorite, like who I'm always gonna root for, no matter what, Kevin Holland, like at 170, he is for sure above Michelle Pereira.
Damn. Okay, I knew you like Kevin Holland, but I didn't know. I knew Michelle Pereira was your boy, so I figured, I figured he wouldn't go Khamzat because Khamzat's a little too on the nose. But yeah, I figured, Michelle Pereira, that would have been a pretty easy layup for you there. But I think you're probably going to know the guy that I'm going with. He's still kind of like an under the radar guy. Vicente Luque, man, that dude. The only boring fight he's ever been in is Bilal Muhammad, and that's because Bilal Muhammad will do everything in God's will to make a fight boring. Other than that, that dude, he's all action all the time, and every fight I've ever seen him in, besides the last Bilal Muhammad fight, has been nothing but fireworks. He goes out there on a shield. I mean, for him to, I think that Brian Barberena fight, I've told you, that's one of my top 5 fights of all time. I mean, that fight, both of those guys just bit down and absolutely went for it. And if I could say maybe a runner up in the division, maybe Brian Barberena, because he's another guy who's all action all the time. Dude, I'm telling you, he's got a fight with Robbie Lawler coming up on the UFC 276 card. That fight's going to be a banger just because Brian Barberena is involved in it. But Vicente Luque and all of it, he's had good finishes over Randy Brown. Bilal Muhammad back in the day. He had a good fight with Stephen Thompson. He's just vicious, and he's such a nice guy as well. But man, his fight style, he's all action all the time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So good picks. I feel like I knew Vicente Luque was your pick, but I didn't know like if you were gonna like kind of like fucking change it up on me there. Like I was like is he gonna try to change it up and not go Vicente Luque? But I almost feel like it's a solid pick because he's still like under the radar enough to where like not a lot of people know about the silent assassin, man. Like
Yeah.
people need to watch
No.
out. One guy that I don't feel like fucking gets enough shine, just real quick, up at 185. He's always saying how no one appreciates what he's done and all this. He's been talking all week about it. I just want to give a shout out to Joaquin Buckley, man. We know that you have the greatest knockout of all time, dude. We appreciate your fight skills, dude. I enjoy you as a fighter. He just seems so upset, man, that people don't want to give him, I guess, shine for what he's done. But it almost like it kind of seems like fucking UFC is just throwing him to the wolves this weekend. But we'll get into it. But 155, man, you know who I'm going to pick, or at least hopefully you know who I'm going to pick. I've been telling you since before the Bobby Green fight that this guy was the future of the division. I'm gonna let you go first, though.
I think I know who you're going to go, and there's a number of guys that you can go with within the division. You know, Tony Ferguson was always one of those guys. He still might be my favorite, but I mean he's a little too on the nose. Michael Chandler, you know, I've been a big fan of him since his Bellator days. You know, I told you coming in from Bellator that he was going to be a problem for the top 5. Whether he'd win the title or not, I don't know, but he's going to be a problem. But I feel like he's a little bit too on the nose. But, man, one of the guys, you know, I always play with him on UFC. And but he's also a very good fighter. Entertaining is Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush is one of those guys. Very, very often and very fun fights. I know that Tony Ferguson performance wasn't the best, but I know he was just trying to get a win, secure his spot within the top of the division and secure his win streak as well. He didn't want to get caught in a brawl with Tony Ferguson because, I mean, let's face it, you know, you get caught in a brawl with Tony Ferguson, you seen what happened to Michael Chandler in the first round. You know, bad things can happen eventually if you play with fire. But Beneil Dariush is also a guy, just amazing finishes. You know, I still remember back in the day when him and James Vick fought, and he gave James Vick his first loss, and he absolutely crumpled him like just like a building collapsing. Like it was so crazy. He hit him with that overhand left hook, similar to the way he hit Jakar Close with. So I would have to say, if anybody, probably Beneil Dariush.
All right, man. Tell the people who I'm going.
Fiziev.
Indeed, man. Rafael Fiziev, for sure, dude. If you don't know Rafael Fiziev, man, please watch the Renato Moicano versus Rafael Fiziev fight. This fight made me such a fan of Rafael Fiziev, dude. He absolutely crushed Renato Moicano, dude. I don't know why he thought it was the best idea on earth to just stand with him. He like it's almost like he was like, nah, forget my jiu-jitsu, what I'm good at. Let me stand with this lethal Rafael Fiziev, dude. And it was so bad, dude. That fight made me a huge fan of Fiziev, dude. Yeah, off the top of my head, just everyone else is just too well known. Yeah. You want to go down to 145, or you kind of look like you're saying something else? You no,
I was
something else.
No. I'm actually just looking at that's what I was getting ready to say. Just 155. It's kind of like the glamour division of the sport. So if you're in like the top 10, I mean, you're kind of, you know, one of those well-known guys anyway, just because where so many guys that are well-known are in that division, just because the division's all action all the time, just about. So, I mean, you know, Poirier is one of my favorite fighters as well. You know, I order his hot sauce all the time. I mean, I go back and, you know, I could watch just a numerous amount of his fights. So any of those guys, you can't really go wrong with.
You can't leave out Bobby King Green, man. I know you're always
Oh yeah, that's
raving
my
about
guy.
Bobby King.
That's my guy, man. Win, lose, or draw, he's mostly gonna be in a fun fight. So yeah, I mean, he was definitely one of those guys I was considering too. But Beneil Dariush, yeah, he's definitely one of those guys.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we'll move down to 145. I feel like the correct pick here should be Brian Ortega for me, but I almost feel like he's at the top of the division. It's like not, but is he known that much? I don't know. That being said, I'm going Bryce Mitchell, Doug Nasty. They both have kind of a similar style. They both want to get you down. They both want to make you give up. They both want to cook you to the bone, in the words of Bryce Mitchell, dude. I'm going Thug Nasty. The dude is such a character, so entertaining. He's so funny, dude. The dude lives like on a farm in a trailer and just wants to grow his fruits and his vegetables and then go fight, dude. It's the funny. It's
and he
it's
trains
almost,
in his yard.
I think that's why I love fucking Yuri so much. It's like parts of every fighter. It's like Bryce Mitchell, Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira. Like, hit me, I don't care. like it's just
dude,
all of my
all
favorite
action.
fighters just put together. Yeah. That being said, man, I'm going Thug Nasty, but my number one obvious up there pick is Brian T City Ortega. I love me some T City. All right, man. Who's your favorite fighter at 145?
Man, okay, so I want to go like two ways with this because one of the guys aren't ranked, so I want to go with like an under the radar guy. So I'll be quick, but under the radar guy, and then I'll go with like my favorite fighter. Under the radar guy, I think. I mean, once I say it, you'll be like, oh yeah. Charles Jourdain, that's another guy who, man, ever since his UFC debut, I believe he fought against Doo Ho Choi, and Doo Ho Choi is always a guy who's always in action fights. Just look at the fight with Cub Swanson. And when Charles Jourdain came in, he actually knocked Doo Ho Choi out clean. And it was a super clean counterpunch that he landed against him. And ever since then, I've been a big fan of him. He's always in all the action fights. He's never stopping as far as, he's always got his foot on the gas. And look at that submission he had against Lando Venata in his last fight. So he's only getting better. And I think probably my favorite fighter, as I'm looking through the division, I was actually a little bit surprised, but I do probably Josh Emmett, man. I think Josh Emmett, that dude, that dude can thud, and the way that he put out Michael Johnson, I mean, no one. I mean, we know that Justin Gaethje had finished him, but up to that point, no one had knocked out Michael Johnson, and for Josh Emmett to land that clean overhand right and just put him to sleep, dude, his hooks are just something. Just you cannot stand in there for a minute. And I know we'll talk about him a little bit more this coming up weekend, but yeah, if you go back and look at some of the highlights he's put on with his knockouts, he's got some brutal knockouts. So I would have to say probably Josh Emmett.
Good pick. Good pick. Maybe a little insight into one of your picks this weekend. I guess we'll find out. Find out later on the show. That being said, let's move on down to 135. Mine's an apparent one, man. If you watch this show, you know who my favorite fighter is at 135. And if you don't know, let me give you a quick little hint right here. Mr. Sugar Sean O'Malley, dude. It's spoken for itself over the multiple episodes. I am a Sean O'Malley fan. Shout out the Sugar Show. And if you don't know, just go watch literally any of his fights. Actually, don't watch that Cheetah Vera fight. Not the best fight, but, any of his other ones. Go watch that one. Who's your favorite fighter at 135, man?
Yeah, I think you'll probably know this one too. And looking through, I think you could look at the top of the division. I think some of the guys. I think one of them. I would say the runner up right now is Song Yadong, because he's another guy I've always glamored about. He for 135, he's the hardest hitting 135er I've seen, because he can put dudes out with one punch, and I haven't seen 135ers be able to do that. But number one, he's fighting this weekend as well. Funny enough. Adrian Yanez, man, coming in from the Contender Series, dude. They call him Mini Masvidal, But dude, he really does actually look like Masvidal, but his boxing is just so pure. His combos are just so lethal. And just watching him in his Contender Series knockout, just the way he lands the left hook, and then the guy doesn't exactly fall. He kind of buckles, and Yana just kind of slowly walks up to him and just puts a nasty, just about 3-4 piece combo on him and makes him fold again. And then the ref stops the fight. So he's just full of smooth boxing combinations, and he's definitely my favorite at 135.
Are we going to have the same 125er, man?
Go for it. We'll see.
The one, the only, Raw Dog, Brandon Royval. If you don't like Brandon Royval at 125, what are you doing? He is the most exciting fighter at 125, hands down. There are some new guys that may show something in the next few fights, but for me right now, it's got to be Raw Dog, Brandon Royval, dude. The dude is always live to throw something spinning at you and then sub you once he knocks you down with that spinning whatever he threw at you.
No, the funny thing about him is that he's likely to sub you after you knock him down. So yeah, he'll get knocked down and then he'll end up submitting the guy. So yeah, that's how much action he is all the time. But yeah, he's definitely one of those guys. I would say probably right now, and I know he's fighting. I know he's fighting soon, but probably Kai. Kai's really came on here as of late, and he's really starting to live up to the name. I think since that Bontarine fight, he was able to get that knockout, and I think he's able to gain a lot of momentum and confidence from that fight to be able to scathe off the wrestling and then able to get back up and then still knock the guy out. And then his last fight against Askar, he showed that he's the real deal. So definitely, Raw Dog is definitely one of those guys for me. But yeah, definitely Kai. Kai is definitely one of those for me.
So that's the men. That's the men. Maybe not exactly, but that's just like off the top, just real quick. We're only going to do 3 of these because there's no women's 145 division. So we're going to do women's 135, 25, and 115. We're not really going to jump into too much as to why because, you know, there's not really too much to say most of the time. Mine's going to be literally the exact same for 2 of them as to why. But 135, man. Who's your favorite fighter at 135? Or do you want me to go first here? Do you need time to think still?
You go first. Go
first. My favorite at 135 is Irene Aldana. She's so clean of a boxer at 135, dude. I told you this the first time that I saw her. I was like, dude, she's going to be a fucking problem. And you're like, is she really? And I'm like, watch her fight fucking Yana. And dude, she put Yana's lights fucking out. I don't remember if like that was the actual like the fight that I told you to watch, but like it was like one like around that time, dude. I'm like, she's for sure going to be a problem after Amanda leaves because like at that time, like Amanda was just crushing everybody. But Irene Aldana is for sure my favorite at 135.
I think after looking through it, man, 135 has really been a wasteland for a little bit. It's kind of crazy to think about. But actually looking through, probably Rocky. I had to say Rocky Pennington. She's one of those. She doesn't have the most set of skills, but she's super fucking tough, and she's such a grinder. She's a dog. Her last fight against Aspen Ladd was arguably fight of the night. I mean, they were just throwing hooks for days. She's got a hell of a chin. She's got pretty decent boxing, good wrestling. She's kind of just well-rounded overall, and she started to come along as of late as well. I think she's put together about a 4-fight win streak, I think. Something to that effect. She's on like a 3-4 fight win streak herself. So she's looked good as of late, and I just love the mentality that she fights with. So probably Rocky.
Good pick, man. Good pick. A vet. Still one of the OGs still doing it to this day, dude. I honestly don't know how much time she has left, but Rocky's still doing the damn thing, dude. 125, man. Do you want me to go or you want to
go? You lead with this one. I'm between 2.
All right, fair enough. 125, dude. It's like you know me. You know, like I'm a Vivi fan, but me right here, I gotta go Alexa Grasso. It was going to be between one of those two, and I feel like you personally knew that it's between Viviane Araújo and Alexa Grasso. I am a huge fan of both fighters. I enjoy watching both so much. I'm just gonna start with Viviane Araújo. She comes to kill. She's usually got about a round and a half in her, but if she can clip you good in that round and a half, you're a goner. You're done for. She is powerful. She is strong, fun to watch. On the other hand, Alexa Grasso, becoming one of the most technical fighters in 125 and just improving every single time I see her. She just now subbed JoJo recently, dude. She's got subs on her record now. She's got lethal boxing, just showing that she is one to watch out for in the 125 division. And just the way like the division was working now, dude, it's like she could be fighting for the title within the one or two fights because she's right there. Talia Santos beat JoJo, fights for a title. Alexa Grasso just beat JoJo, no fight announced yet. It's going to be either like Kaylin like Chukagian or the title next. That's the only two options. I hope it's title because I don't like anyone fighting Kaylin Chukagian because she just outclasses them, man. Choo, right?
and for me, it came down to two. And it came down between the Choo and probably Macy Barber, but I do think probably Macy Barber. Yeah, I think Macy Barber does edge her out for me. I love, she just has a meanness to her as well. She's always been one that I love the confidence in herself. Now she has had some setbacks as far as the losses that she's had and stuff like that, but I do think she's starting to put it together a little bit more. And she took a fight on short notice here recently. Can't remember exactly who she ended up taking the fight, but she's got a fight coming up. She's got a good mentality as far as wanting to stay active. It is against Jessica Eye. That's right. Yeah, because I remember she took that on short notice right after her last fight. So, yeah, she's one of those fighters for me in the 125 division. She has just mean mentality, and she's going in there for the finish every time she goes out there. So I love her mentality. Every single time in the third round here lately, she puts the foot to the gas, and I mean, she absolutely lays it on chicks. So she's definitely fun to watch. I'd probably say Macy Barber.
Honorable mention for me, for sure, well over Macy Barber. Tracy Cortez, man. Tracy Cortez is a solid fighter at 125, dude. I believe she's a 125. Please don't tell me
she
I'm
is
wrong. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I don't think she's at 115. I'm pretty sure she's at 125. Another solid fighter at 125, Tracy Cortez. Shout out Tracy Cortez. 115, man. I feel like I only got one way to go here. You know who it's going to be for me. She's up the top now, I believe, ranked number 3 or 4 at this point. Mackenzie Dern, dude. How could I not go Mackenzie Dern? Every single time she's fighting, dude. Am I going for? You know I'm going for Dern every single time she's fighting, and I'm betting Dern by sub every single time she's fighting, whether she gets that shit or not. I'm putting money on it because she's so good on the ground, dude. If it gets to the ground, there's an 80% chance that you're tapping before you get back up. There's been a few fights recently, like where she's gotten, I guess, stalled out, but still looked fantastic. Overall, dude, just now beat Tisha Torres, and the only ones that have like been able to do that in the past were, I guess, champions. That being said, man, that is why Mackenzie Dern is my favorite at 115. Tell me why, or tell me who your favorite is at 115.
I'll go with one under the radar. Lemos is probably my runner up just because I love her mentality as well. She cracks like some dudes do at 135. Like she hits so freaking hard. But I would have to say probably after looking through the division, probably the chick who just beat her last, probably Jessica Andrade. And it's crazy enough, man, dude. She's so tough. Dude, she's ranked number 6 in the strawweight division, and she's ranked number 4 in the flyweight division. So it just goes to show how active she is in both divisions, and she's taking a fight against Manon Fiorot coming up. I believe what was it in August that we were talking about. So I know we'll probably talk about that a little bit, but just her, she's always one of those, stay ready all the time. She's fought at 135, 125, 115, been successful in all three weight classes. So if anybody, probably just to pay the respect to her, definitely Jessica Andrade.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And also, don't you forget her. We talk about her all the time. The heart of a lion, the lion heart, if you will, at women's 115. They're definitely friends on the broadcast show. We got Angie Overkill Hill. Do not forget about Angie Overkill Hill. She is a fan favorite. And if you don't give Angie credit, you are not a UFC fan. She always gives it her all, no matter what, dude.